What's up guys, it's Rahman. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. I do have a very important announcement though. The sneaker that I'm about to unbox in this video kind of has a major issue with it. So it's very important that you stay in the middle of this video or towards the end, because in the beginning of the video, I didn't know I was getting this shoe. So we actually unboxed it together and you get some raw reactions. But in the middle of the video, I actually go to the basketball gym, I play in the shoe, and then I come back to the studio and I give you my thoughts on them performance-wise. And that's when I'll tell you what I experienced with that shoe and the major issue that it may have for not just me, but for you as well if you're looking to pick them up. So again, it's important that you stay for that mini first impression / performance review section of this video. But other than that, guys, sit back, relax, go grab a snack, and enjoy the video. What's going on, guys? It's Rahman. I am back with another sneaker unboxing. At least I think it's a sneaker. I mean, I'm not really too sure what's in this box because I was not expecting it, but you know, the shape is like a sneaker box. It's from ANTA all the way in Shenzhen, China, and they make basketball sneakers. So I'm assuming that this is a pair of Klay Thompson sneakers, which again, it's from Shenzhen. And I've actually been to Shenzhen before. That was the city of many stops that we went to during Klay Thompson's sneaker tour a couple years back, which again was an incredible trip. Huge shout out to ANTA for sending me on that. And Shenzhen was the city that Klay was dancing up and down. It was all over social media. He was in the club. It was a club called Face. I can neither confirm nor deny that I was at that very club Klay was at, but I mean, I was at that very club Klay was at, but that's besides the point. Hopefully his sneakers are in this box. There's only one way to find out. Ooh, what is this? Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. It has like this weird Klay logo on it and it says Klaytheism. Oh man, the box is so cool. Check out the box inside. Got all this crazy designs, got the Bay Bridge. Or is that the Golden Gate Bridge? Probably the Golden Gate. You know what? I'm gonna stop looking stupid here. Here are the sneakers. All right, okay, so wow. Man, I'm just so happy. I got another pair of sneakers in the mail. Life doesn't get any better. Klay Thompson, one of my favorite players in the league. I'm really pumped for these. I'm playing basketball tonight and I'm gonna be rocking these for sure. Now, like I said, these are the ANTA KT5s, and I really like what I'm seeing from this shoe so far because you can tell that they have a design philosophy with Klay Thompson's signature sneakers. You can see from the previous model and even the one before that, the 4 and the 3s, they all kind of look similar to each other and they're just making some minor improvements in the design. And I just think that's good design work. I mean, that's just refining something that's good because like I said, Klay Thompson's signature sneakers are awesome. And the KT3 was one of my favorite sneakers to hoop in. So I'm really excited to see what the KT5s have to offer. But right off the bat, the main feature here is this crazy shroud. Is it removable? No, it is not removable. Okay, interesting. Now you could take it off to lace up your sneakers, which is gonna make things a lot easier. As you can see, you have a traditional lacing system there, but you cannot take it off. It is sewn on there. So you have to play with the shroud. Now that's interesting because this is a neoprene-like material and that's gonna actually block some of the heat from escaping because we all know heat rises and it escapes through the top. And usually most of the ventilation in sneakers comes from the top of the tongue. And obviously this shroud is blocking it. I guess we'll find out tonight if it's breathable or not because the rest of the upper feels very nice. It's a knitted textile material, but it isn't like super soft. It has some structure in it. I think there's a slight plastic coating across of it, but it's not heavy-handed. It's a very, very light plastic coating. You can still see that the materials are malleable, they move. Now, another thing that caught my mind is the traction pattern. As you can see, it pretty much uses the same traction pattern that the KT3 used. And I remember thinking that the KT3's traction was awesome. So I think I'm going to expect similar results here. Another thing that I really like is this heel cup design. This is crazy. As you can see, it has some dimension to it. It's kind of popping off of the sneaker. I'm not really sure how that's going to play. It looks like it's like an Achilles guard, right? It looks like it's guarding your Achilles. There isn't a ton of structure on the bottom externally, but I do feel an internal heel cup towards the bottom. So if you had any concerns that this external heel cup wasn't gonna support you on the bottom of your heel, have no fear. I do feel that internal heel cup within the materials itself. Now I'm checking out the midsole here. It says A-Flash foam, which I believe I've used before. It's solid. This midsole has an interesting design. If it looks familiar, it's because it does look familiar. The Under Armour Curry 6 has a very similar design with this webbing around the midsole, and that's hover foam. So this is A-Flash foam, but I guess now it's that time for me to put on the shoe and tell you guys how they fit, because using this one-piece upper is always going to be tricky, and international sizings, you know, you never really know. I think this is a 10.5. Yep, it's a 10.5, and I recall the KT3s fitting me very well in a size 10.5. So let's see what we got here. Kind of tricky, okay. Okay, right off the bat, I think you can go down half a size, just a little bit. There is some dead space in the toe box. Like I said, the KT3s fit me very well, but these, they seem to fit me a little too long. But that shouldn't be a problem, because I think the lacing system and this shroud is going to lock me down very well. And I just realized that if you open this shroud, you have that weird Klay logo on there as well. Love that Klay logo. It's so, that's just Klay. It's hilarious. But man, I'm really excited to try these out on the court. And I tell you guys what, because I love you guys so much, I'm gonna go to the basketball court right now, hoop in these, and then I'm gonna come back to the studio and tell you what I think about these performance-wise. So let me go to the gym. Stay tuned for that mini performance review preview / teaser. Let's go to the gym. All right, so I'm back from the gym. I was able to play in the ANTA KT5 for a good like 2.5 hours. And overall, I actually had a lot of fun playing in this sneaker. However, towards the end of my run, I ran into a problem, like I said in the beginning of the video, that could potentially be a major issue for a lot of people. So I'll get to that in just a second. But I want to start by talking about the fit. Now, I know in this video, a little bit earlier, I said that I might be able to go away with the half size down because the fit in the toe box, there was a little bit of dead space. It's just not one of those sneakers that's going to snap to your foot in the forefoot. But after playing in this shoe, I would actually just recommend you go true to size, because I'm just gonna call it how it is. If you consider yourself to have a wide foot, or you think you're a wide footer, these are gonna be way too narrow for you in the midfoot. And this is my main problem with the shoe. But before I talk about that, I just wanna get the other areas out of the way real quick. I know I talked about that dead space in the forefoot. I think it's negated by the fantastic lock-in feel that you get from the lacing system, as well as this shroud. I do think this shroud really helps your foot stay in place within the shoe, so that dead space isn't a problem whatsoever. The heel is the same way. There's an internal and an external heel cup right here, like I talked about. Those two features really lock your heel into place. But as for the midfoot, now this shoe is designed by Robbie Fuller, who in the past designed a lot of Adidas basketball sneakers, specifically, or most famously, the Adi Zero Rose signature sneakers. And those sneakers were always criticized for having a pinching-like feeling in the midfoot, specifically like around your midfoot and even underneath, because what Robbie Fuller did was he implemented Adidas sprint frame technology. And in the KT3, which again, I loved playing in that sneaker, you could definitely feel a similar or same design element as sprint frame in that sneaker. And I have to say, you get a similar feeling as well in the KT5. However, this time around, it was a major problem for me. Now, I really had a tough time at the end of my run staying in this shoe for two reasons. A, it's a really hot shoe. This shroud really blocks a lot of ventilation that would allow normally for heat to escape. but that shroud just blocks that, so your foot is going to be really hot. And then that midfoot pinching, it was really kind of like this area in between the forefoot and the midfoot, if that makes sense, and even underneath my foot a little bit, like the ball of the forefoot and midfoot. That was really starting to bother me, like something was stabbing me, pinching me. And at the end of my run, I was really in a lot of pain. I know that's something you do not want to hear, but I just want to stress that this might just be one of those shoes that is going to give someone like myself some issues and some pain, but for other people, it might not be a big issue because this shoe might fit their foot differently. It just has a really unique fit. So it's just something to be aware about. It is something that I ran into, but like I said, it might not happen to you. Now, as for the rest of the sneaker, I think it actually performed very well, specifically the traction. I only had to wipe in between games, which I do anyways. It's really become a habit for me, but during play, I really didn't have any issues whatsoever. This fingerprint-like pattern on the outsole really holds its own. As for the cushioning, that A-Flash foam, I think it's a little too early for me to make a complete judgment on it. Like I said, I only got like 2 to 2.5 hours of play with these. But so far, I mean, there was a slight break-in period where my foot started to feel fatigued a little too early, but I think that's just my foot and body adjusting to the cushioning setup. Another thing that I want to mention about this shroud is I know I talked about how it gets really hot, and that's something that's kind of a problem for me. I do not like it when my feet get hot. That's just one problem I have with the shroud. The other problem I have with it is it really should have been removable. I think the KT3 had a shroud, but you were able to remove it with a buckle or a button right here in the forefoot. This sneaker does not have that. It just stays on. You cannot remove it. And this is a problem because if you're in a game and you need to make quick adjustments in the lacing system, this shroud, believe it or not, I would not be saying this if it wasn't the case, it really honestly gets in the way, and you cannot do this in game. You really have to take yourself out of the game, take a couple of minutes or a minute to fold over the lacing completely, maybe even prop your shoe up on a bench or a chair or something like that, and then adjust the lacing system if you need to. Because if you don't and you're just trying to do it quickly in the game, this shroud just becomes an annoyance. So that is a real issue. Again, I wouldn't say this if it wasn't the case. I wish it wasn't the case because again, I think the shroud does a great job at keeping your foot locked in and it helps to fit out a lot in these, but it just became too much of an annoyance for me to really get on board with. So ANTA really should have made this shroud removable, but it is what it is. It's here to stay and you can't remove it. So yeah, those are pretty much my overall thoughts on these performance-wise. Again, they're just my first impressions, and I do want to stress that midfoot pain that I'm talking about, yes, it's unfortunate, but I feel like I owe it to you guys because you guys support the channel. You trust me, that I really appreciate that. So I owe it to you guys to give you guys an honest review. And I'm just gonna call it how it is. My foot was in pain after playing a couple of hours in these. That's just what it is. So thank you so much guys for making it to the end of this video. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed it. That helps me out a lot. And subscribe to the channel for the updated performance review. And of course, more sneaker related content just like this. My name's Jaron. It's been great having you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, so true story about Klay Thompson. I was in China in the hotel. I think it was in Changsha, and Klay Thompson walks in, right? And it's quiet. No one wants to talk to him. And all of a sudden, Nick DiPaolo, the sneaker guy on ESPN, he just says, "You really gave it to those guys, right?" Because Klay just got done dropping 21 straight points in a 3-on-3 basketball exhibition. And Klay just kind of shook his head and said, "Yeah, I worked them."